Oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. I'm proud of you. We did it. We are finally talking about it, and it only required 200 comments, 3 letters, and a personal attack while I was walking out to my car.
Can you please just do the G37, G35? That's what the people want. Give the people what they want.
And approximately 14 DMs, but hey, we listen, all right? Just not as fast. You hear that, Rebecca? I'm Alex, Alex.fi on the Instagram cat have and sometimes car page, and today we're gonna be talking about the car that people have owned because 350, 370Z, what are we? Teenagers? The car that has laid waste at car shows and SEMA stands. The car that is inherently, out of the gate, not actually that pretty. But then with a few modifications, starts to look like your favorite high school crush. Today, we are talking to you, ladies and gentlemen, about the Infiniti G35/G37. So hype. Intro, so hype. While you guys are here, don't forget to subscribe so that YouTube can stop guessing that you want to watch our videos, and then you just get a normal notification when we upload. Hit the bell button, it helps us with that too. And we're getting close to 300K, and that number sounds
Really neat.
How neat is that? It's
Pretty neat.
all right. I got personally attacked on a meme on our Instagram page the other day, and I'm just not about having it. If you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension, don't forget to check out fitmentindustries.com, where we got it all. But do it after the video, because YouTube has an algorithm with retention and a lot of boring stuff, okay? The Infiniti G series is Infiniti's take on the compact executive car scene that started all the way back in 1990 to 1996. Then again from 1998 to 2016. A little hiatus was taken, if you will. Anyway, based on the Nissan Primera, the Infiniti G was a rebadged version of Nissan Skyline, which is why you'll see people out there saying they own a Nissan Skyline. It causes a whole bunch of crap talk and forums and things like that. It's a weird topic. Listen, I'm not gonna get into that civil war of a battle, but there it is. The first generation was a very typical looking 90s car. It was an entry-level luxury car that was powered by an SR20DE inline 4-cylinder. Because of the fancy Infiniti name, the car itself featured fancy, non-peasant features that European and Japanese variants add. What were those non-peasant items? Power locks, mirrors, a Bose stereo, cruise control, floor mats, and leather. It did also have some legit nice things like a theft deterrent system, moonroof, keyless entry, and dual airbags for safety, in case you were sending it through the frickin' hills of Japan. Just kidding, America, because we had the stuff and they didn't have the stuff. This is one time we had some neat. The G20 had some lovely updates, including a sportier style, better suspension, and actually looked pretty nice, all things considered. It didn't really matter because just like the African Social Spider, the G20 ended its production in favor of a new, sleek, wide bubble butt variant called the Infiniti G35. Let's go. The G35 was a badge-engineered export variant to the V35 Nissan Skyline, and it's true, I'm gonna keep saying it, whether you guys decide to put the badge on the back, you do you, boo-boo. The G35 was praised like a little brother for just breathing, even though it was priced quite a bit more than its previous variant, and officially transitioned the G series into a more focused sedan, sports coupe, premium market. They moved the engine towards the rear of the engine bay to help improve its weight distribution up to a 52/48. Not bad when you really think about it. The manual variant received a slightly different engine that had variable valve timing on both the intake and exhaust camshafts without kicking a nickel in terms of power. In 2005, the G35 was given a sportier interior. They even gave it an MP3 playback feature. How neat is that? But then they got rid of the Brembos, the cool things that everybody hyped about because they were on a stock car. You might be sad about that, but they did have some pretty insane premature wear, enough so that they got a little bit in trouble by this thing called the law. The biggest talking point about these cars would likely be their impressive engines. The VQ35 isn't inherently a bad motor, it's just a little bit of a quirky one. Aftermarket exhausts and such don't necessarily help it at all. In fact, not many like the tune it screams. This has to do with the straight pipe design, cam profile timing, and just how the motor was built. It's just not the sound that a lot of people are looking to hear. So what does it sound like? Then the 4th gen V36 came out in 2007 and angels cried. The car featured a redesigned VQ35 HR dual path intakes, larger crank bearings, increased compression ratio, and a whole bunch of goodies that make these 2 years worth the purchase if you're looking to pick up a G35. Just letting you know. And if you want to sound really smart, just remember those things I told you. That's all you gotta know. Infiniti really started to kick it a nickel as they started to get into the 2007 and 2008 years, with revisions being done to the car pretty much everywhere. But then the new kid on the block came around. Get the hell out of the way, 35, because 2009 marked the introduction of the G37, which is likely one of the best looking coupe VIP cars out there for the price, and featured a brand new 3.7 VQ35. Just kidding, VQ37 HERE. The G37 was the answer to people complaining about the G35. Don't like the fact that above 6K RPM, the car sounds like it's running out of air, or perhaps a box of English girls are shaking around in your trunk? Get a G37. Don't like the fact that the G35 has a mid-2000-esque soft and sleek look and prefer the angry adult look? Get a G37. The G37 was introduced back at the New York International Auto Show and people fell in love with it. The VQ37 would come at 328 horsepower at 7,000 RPMs, and it sounded like it actually do it, which was nice. It was much more responsive, smoother engine operation, and a calmer clutch engagement. It started to feel like a properly refined car. Give it a few years and people started to bring them inside. You know, start modifying, give them a home, you know? Come here, little guy, it's gonna be okay. I'll take care of you, I promise. The most recent G37s featured various trims like the IPL, which was the closest thing you could get to a higher performance variant of the G37. Now, while the car was popular, the G37 didn't make any splashes in the good old car automotive world in like against the big boys. It didn't necessarily smash its competition like the A5 or the 328, but people still bought it. But hey, enough history, we're done with that. So you want to own a G35/G37. Well, grab your air suspension kit there, bud, and 3-piece wheels, and let's get into it, starting with the good old G35. The G35 is an iconic car in the current scene. A lot of people end up snagging these cars versus their 350Z counterpart because of the fact that it's a slightly more luxury variant of the car's platform. That, and people like the body style because it feels like it's a little bit longer. The car itself isn't terribly bad to get into either, with most pricing being comparable to some nicer N350Zs. Carrying the same thickness with 2 Cs, the G35 can get quite wide with the right set of wheels and air. Junior at the shop managed to get 12.5 wides. On a G35 with air suspension setup, it's just some specs and a dream. The biggest issue with the G35 is the fact that they dated pretty hard and pretty fast. They suffer for some common VQ issues such as odd noises and feeling exasperated at high RPMs. It has an oddly aggressive clutch style driving experience and makes you feel like you should be in a 350Z versus an Infiniti. The headlights are known to fade over time, and the Infiniti paint can have a hard time staying alive. If you do plan to grab a G35, it's important to try and snag one that has been garage kept, manual, and of course, good old maintenance is up to date. Maybe try to get it from your old Nan, Griselda or something, I don't know. Otherwise, you'll find yourself either repainting the car or wrapping it, since the platform just doesn't seem to do the honest against that blazing bright star in our sky. If you're looking at what people run, it's almost all air suspension, usually with Works if you have the budget, or Odd-Hans have gotten extremely popular on this platform for those that need the wide sizing without the insane price. Toyo Proxies and Achilles ATR Sport 2s are all over these cars, usually with an aftermarket lip, window tint, and those angry little eyebrow headlight things that make it look newer. Moving into the G37 on the other hand, and you start to spend a few more dollars for a few more goodies. The car gets a little bit more aggressive, and what people do with them is equally more aggressive. Aero will start popping up all over these cars, and the wheels depend on the suspension. We see a little less air suspension as we get into the G37s and more about like swift lowering springs and BC racing coilovers. Out of the 2 gens, the G37 has started to take the cake. Funfetti vanilla cake is my favorite. If anybody stops by, bring some beer, bring some Funfetti cake, I'd love it. It's not something that seems to follow the hype of the coupe though when you're comparing it to the sedan. The most important thing you can do here, get close, get really close. Get the demon eyes. It's what every G37 has, and you've got to do it if you have one. And if you have a G37 that doesn't have the demon eyes, the G35 and G37 platform are the answer to the car culture's question of like, yo, Could we maybe get something that's like tuner-ish, but nice, but not actually German? And then Infiniti was like, yeah, we can try, yeah, here's the G35. And then like, yeah, but like, could we maybe get it where it doesn't feel like it'll shake apart? And voila, Infiniti was like, yeah, here's the G37. Have a good time there, bud. They do have a strong history in the car scene as being a nice, sporty, JDM-style show car. They aren't super fast, nor are they inherently slow. They carry resemblance from their sister companies, which means the parts aren't inherently crazy expensive anymore, and maintenance isn't a total drag. But they are a little bit quirky. So, would you own one? That's up to you to decide there, bud. Drop a comment below. And of course, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. It helps me put more ramen on the table for Gels and Dakota, and it gets you to watch more great videos like this. Honestly, what more could you want? If you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension for your G35 or G37 or any of your Infinitis, if you got an old school G20, we're not mean to those guys either. Be sure to check out fitmentindustries.com. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. We will see you guys later. Peace.